When it comes to Roaring Kitty, he might just go down as one of the greatest investors of this generation. What started as an educational live stream on how to find deep fucking value culminated in one of the most remarkable stock plays of all time, Gamestop. Since that fabled play, Kitty has made tens of millions of dollars, market-wide controversies, and legal investigations that provoked the silence from Keith Gill, until his eventual return earlier this year, which sparked rallies in both Gamestop and arguable sister company Chewy. But what's next for Keith Gill? If his cryptic tweets are anything to go by, then going down the rabbit hole is certainly encouraged, and that's exactly what I did, and what I found might just be his next play. When Roaring Kitty first returned earlier this year, I, like many others, had his tweet notifications turned on. I saw the locking in meme, and being the crypto degenerate that I am, I raced to the first GameStop coin on Solana because the market was shut. I ended up making around 13x, all was very good, and I was happy. Around this time though, I started tracking wallets. This process is a bumpy one, and it takes a lot of time, but can be hugely profitable. So while Keith was sharing hints about Chewy and GameStop runs, I started to go through the holders of both of those Solana coins, curious as to what kind of money was being made. What I eventually found was astonishing. Two wallets who aped only Roaring Kitty plays, but interestingly, both plays came days before Roaring Kitty actually tweeted. Now they only aped small, but enough to give them tens of thousands in eventual profits, and one of them even had a 100% win rate according to GMGN.ai, something I'd only ever seen from bots or insiders. The wallets remained dormant for months. Sat on the sideline with thousands of dollars in profit, I waited patiently to see if maybe Roaring Kitty would return again and these wallets would give me a hint as to what would come next. Then, one mystery Wednesday afternoon, one of the wallets started offloading SOL at an alarming rate. Frequently, like a machine gun spraying at multiple targets, I began to track every wallet I could, and after about an hour of silence again, one of them, and only one of them, aped this. Unity. The name itself is important, and yes, it does tie to the stock, so please just bear with me while I connect the dots. The coin was framed as a Roaring Kitty community on its website, which was odd. How many Roaring Kitty coins are there on Solana already? Countless clones and plays on the name. Why would he buy this one? Why this wallet, of all wallets, would he buy this? It was obviously something tied to the Unity stock, but how much? I bought in at 7k and immediately discussed it with my friends in the trenches. We were all as equally confused. The buys dripped in, I examined every wallet, and about 80% of them were fresh wallets funded from an exchange. No trading history to mention. This in itself was strange, you just don't see that unless it's like a bundled launch or something. The buys kept flowing, the fresh wallets kept popping up, the price continued to rise. But the Telegram was a wasteland. No comments were to be seen on the pump thread. Was it a mass rug, or was there something genuinely big happening here? Fast forward a few days, I held with conviction, and not only did the coin graduate from pump fun with next to no selling pressure whatsoever, but it kept going up. 100k, 200k, 500k, not a single large sell, not a single top holder or holder from pump fun was dumping their tokens. Why? As of today, the coin sits around 600k following a down day for Unity stock after a huge 8% rally the day before. The all-time high of the coin sits at a whopping $1 million, and again, none of the top holders have even touched their bags, including the dev. In the other universe though, the Unity stock that I mentioned was just beginning to pick up steam. As the crypto coin started to rise, every day there will be a new tweet about option volume. Big whales aping 5,000 contracts of the stock from the 19th of September through the 24th. Now the coin launched on the evening of September 18th. Parallels to Kitty's most recent GameStop play were being drawn as the options flow continued to cause head scratching. And unlike crypto, we can't see who bought the options, only how much. But it's certainly bizarre to see Unity stock getting mystical pumps while a Solana shitcoin is randomly made and rallies to nearly 1 million in a matter of days. So let's say they're connected. Why Unity? Well, before we look at the company, let's look at Deep Fucking Value's investing formula. Roaring Kitty looks for heavy insider buying, something we've seen a lot of to some degree in recent days. So I went on Open Insider to have a look, and what I saw was nothing but sells. In fact, nothing but sales all year from insiders of the company. This conflated DFE's tried and tested formula, so out of curiosity, I went back to check GameStop's ratio before the squeeze, and well, would you look at that. Outside of Mr. Cohen, who subsequently became a key cog in the big move and the company's future, all the insiders were selling too. In a stream, he mentioned he also looks for credit risks. Stocks that have been battered down but don't have a risk of going bankrupt or needing to dilute to generate finances. When it comes to Unity, their balance sheet's pretty good. There's very little in the way of unmanaged debt, their liabilities are much smaller than their actual assets, and there's no real risk of bankruptcy for a company bringing in the amounts they do. And what about the business track record? This is one of other DFE's key traits. Is the stock price down because the company's failing, or are outside factors influencing the price? This is where things get interesting. As a company, Unity is the world's leading platform for creating and growing 3D content. This is according to the company website. Unity is a free game development engine for those making up to $200,000 per year, and games created using the platform include the likes of Pokemon Go, Beat Saber, Fall Guys, and Outer Wilds. Now, their business model was questionable until last year. A swift change in policy and a very clear monetization scheme made life incredibly hard for developers, and it backfired massively and forced a lot of smaller teams to lose confidence in the engine. Now, while options are limited for AAA developers, it's the mobile market where Unity has the most upside, and that was reflected in a management change after all of these controversies. Matthew Bromberg was the man to replace the previous CEO. His implementation was a big one. He has experience at both Zynga and EA, two juggernauts of the mobile gaming space, having also been involved with brands like Fitbit and Monzo. Bromberg not only has an eclectic background, including experience with chartered banks, but one that fits the new direction of Unity perfectly. Now, Unity Software on top of this laid off 1,800 people at the beginning of 2024, signalling a contrasting view to the previous CEO, where money felt like the name of the game. So with Bromberg in place, all eyes now turn to the future, which does look bright with new engine updates and a focus on accessibility. And on top of that, if you look at the mobile game market, Unity accounts for nearly 70% of the top 1,000 titles on the market. In fact, their market share in the mobile game market is around 49% or 90 billion. Almost half of all gaming is mobile. It's easy to look at these AAA titles like Call of Duty and FC25 and Madden, but it's the Pokemon Go's of the world. It's the Monopoly Go's of the world. It's the games that you play on your phone with microtransactions that continue to bring in this incredible amount of revenue. So now we know about Unity. How does this stack up to deep fucking value? Where do these dots connect? Well, funnily enough, it was these kind of fundamentals that drew Roaring Kitty to GameStop. A beaten down company? Check. New management? Check. A product that should have a sustainable future given the long-term direction of technology? Check. Oh, and substantial market share in a growing industry. Check 2. So we have a company that appeals itself to a value investor like Keith Gill, a sudden surge in options activity, and a random coin made on Solana with a potential insider wallet from previous Roaring Kitty plays being among the earliest investors. Oh, and if you really want to dig deep and put your tinfoil hats on, people have really started to dive into Roaring Kitty's tweets, many referencing the word U. The Unity stock ticker is also the letter U. Now, it could be a coincidence, it could be nothing, but at the very least, I found a play that ran from 7k to 1 million, and I made substantial gains for those around me and myself. I've also invested heavily in the Unity stock with this thesis in mind. Now, this isn't financial advice, so please don't be irresponsible, but I at least hope that this video connects some dots, and if in 6 months' time one of those legendary tweets grace our screens, then I hope this video can be seen as something of a reference point, and a lesson to never stop clicking.